Hey friends, welcome back to my channel Techie World. Now in this video we are going to cover a very important topic of CSS, that is CSS display property. Now before learning CSS display property, we need to understand the two types of HTML elements and their behavior. So the two types of HTML elements are block type and inline type. So block type elements always have their own block in the web page, and they always start from a new line. For example, let's say you have two or more block type elements in your web page, then they'll be always aligned vertically. Okay, now whereas this inline tags always tries to start from the same line as of the previous tag. Okay, so now I hope you understood about the two types of elements of HTML. So now let's come to our main topic, that is display property. Display property is used to change the default behavior of the HTML element and place those HTML elements as our website need. There are 25 plus possible values of display property, but in this video we are going to learn only 5 values of the display property. Those are inline block, and flex, grid. Okay, so now let's see some examples of this properties and understand them more clearly. So friends, now I'm on my VS Code, and over here I have an HTML document and CSS document. Okay, and over here let me create one boilerplate, and I will change the title over here. Okay, so over here in the body, let me add one heading. This is our channel. Okay, and after that let me add one more heading over here. So I'll save this and I'll go to the browser. So friends, over here, as I told you that block type elements always start from a new line. So you can see the heading tag, the two heading tags are starting from a new line. Let's say this is our first heading and this is our second heading. So this second heading is not coming over here anywhere, but it is starting from a new line. And let me do inspect and show you that why I told that block type elements have their own block in the web page. So let's say if I take my cursor on the heading 1 or heading 1 or heading 2, they have their own block over here. Okay, as you can see over here. So now let me add some inline type elements. Okay, so here I have one image, so let me add image, and it is techie.jpg. Okay, and after that let me add one span. So this image and span over here are inline type tags. Okay, so span, and this is my img image. Okay, so I'll save this and I'll come here in my browser. So you can see this image is coming over here, and next to the image only our text is there. It is not starting from any separate line or any next line. Okay, and they'll not have any block over here. They'll be only taking as much space as they want. Okay, as you can see here, but here this block elements are occupying the unnecessary space also. Okay, so I hope you understood about the block and inline type elements. And here, as I told you, display property is used to change the default behavior of the HTML elements. So let me show you how we can change the default behavior or default type of the HTML element. So let's say I select h1 and display inline. I'll make them display inline. Before their default behavior is block, but I'll change the default behavior to inline. Okay, by setting the display as inline. So let me link the CSS file. So link CSS, and I'll save this and I'll go to the browser. So you can see this heading tags also became a inline tags over here, and same way I can make this image tag a block tag. Okay, so image, I'll select the image tag and display block over here. So you can see now it's starting from a new line. So friends, now let's understand display inline block. So over here let me add one border to this heading. So 2 pixel solid red. Okay, I'll save this, and you can see I got a border for this 2 paragraphs. So over here the display is inline. So let's see what happens when we change the width. Okay, so width equals let's say 30 pixel. So you can see there is no change in the width, but when I change the display to block, okay, I'll save this, and you can see the width is changed. It means that when the display is inline we can't change the width, but when the display is block we can change the width. So same way, when display is inline block, okay, we can change the width also, and the element will be, wait, let me show, and the element will be inline also. Okay, the element will be inline also. I think so there is a mistake over here. It is block, not blocks. Okay, so over here the element will be inline or inline also, and it will there will be a change in width also when the display is inline block. So the reason behind this is because when the display is set to inline block, both of the inline properties and block properties will be applied to the element. So this is the reason why we use inline block. So now let's move to grid and flex. So friends, till now we learned about display inline, display block and display inline block. So now let's understand flex and grid. So friends, flex is a value of display property. So when you set the display as flex, what happens is the element becomes flexible, means it can be aligned anywhere in the web page, top, bottom, left, right, center, anywhere you can align it using the display flex property. So now let's understand how it works. So friends, now let's understand what all are the things that we can do using display flex. So first of all, let me add this two headings. Wait a second. Let me add these 2 headings inside a div. Now let me create one div over here, and I'll put these 2 headings inside the div. Yeah. Now you can see that. And let me add one more heading over here. And there are there are 3 headings. Okay, and I'll save this and I'll go to the browser. So you can see I got my 3 headings over here, and let me remove this image and span tag. So you can see I got my 3 headings with a border, and after that, now let me select this div over here. And first of all, let me tell you that why I have put in this all 3 headings inside this div. So the reason behind this is because div is a container, and usually display flex property is provided to a container. So here as div is our container, so when we are providing the display flex property to our div, what happens is our div becomes a flex box, and the items inside the div become flexible. So we can move them anywhere in the div inside the container easily. Okay, so now let me come over here and let me select my div to provide the display flex property. So display flex, and I will remove the display from headings. Okay, so now over here you can see when I'm providing the display flex property to my headings, the three headings are coming in same line. So the reason behind this is because the flex property, the direction of the flex property is column. It is sorry, it is row, not column. Okay, so this is the default direction of the uh, flex property. So over here I can change the direction also by writing flex direction. Okay, so here I can change the flex direction to column, row. Okay, so let me change it to column. So you can see I got them in separate lines. And same way friends, now over here let me write some numbers. 1, 2, and this one is third one. Okay, so now let me save this, and over here let it be column reverse. So now here what will happen is the three headings will come in reverse order. Means this first heading will come at the last and the last one will go at the first. So this is what happens when we do the when we change the flex direction to oh my god, yeah, when we change the flex direction to column reverse. Okay, so now over here let it be row reverse or row. So we already know what happens when we put the flex direction as row. So you can see. Now let's see what happens when we put the flex direction as row reverse. Okay, so you can see it is starting from the last and ending at the first. Okay, now what I can do is I can align the items inside the flex box. So how I can do is let me show you. Let it be row, and let me provide a border to my div. So border 2 pixel, solid and red, and let me give one height of 500 pixel and one width of let's say 1000 pixel. Okay, and after that over here align items, let it be center. So now let me tell you what happens when we align item center. So friends, when we align item center, what happens is the item gets aligned vertically at the center. Now let's say if you want to align the items horizontally at the center, then we need to use a property that is justify content. So this justify content is the property of display flex only, but there is a separate property named as justify content. Okay, so here I can choose center, and it will come at the center from as horizontally. Okay, so over here I can give it as flex start. So here when I'm putting it as flex start, what will happen is it will come at the starting of the flex box. So this is the starting of the flex box, and this these three items are at the starting of the flex box. So when we type align item, so the align items aligns the items inside the container vertically, and when we type justify content, it justifies the content vertically, no, horizontally. Okay, so over here this justify content can be also flex start, or let it be flex end. Okay, so it will go at the end of the flex box. Okay, so same way here also it can be flex end, and in the justify content also it can be flex start. Okay, or flex end. So you can see. So friends, I hope you understood about the flex display flex property, justify content, align items, and the flex direction. So friends, these three are the main properties of display flex which are used by a professional web developer. Okay, so I hope you understood all these three properties. So friends, we use display grid property to align HTML elements in the form of rows and columns. So for example, let's say if we have 8 images in our HTML file, and if we want them to come something like this, then where we have 4 rows and 2 columns, then we can use display grid property. So now let's do some practical of this display grid property and understand it more clearly. So friends, now let's understand how display grid property works. So first let me remove this div from here and add one more div with a class container. And over here inside this container, let me add 8 items. 8 items means div with a class item. So div dot item, and I want it 8 times, so I can use this trick over here. So friends, when we write this trick over here, what happens is, when we write the tag name over here and multiply it, the numbers, the times we want, we get it those many times. Okay, so let's say I multiply it with 8, I multiply the div tag with 8, so I get it 8 times over here, you can see. So now I'll save this and I'll go to my CSS file, and over here I will select my container and provide it with some style. Okay, so let's say border 2 pixel solid 2 pixel solid and red. Okay, and after that let's say height height let it be 500 pixels, and after that width of 100%. Okay, so friends, what happens when we provide width of 100% is the element takes full width of the screen, so it will occupy the full screen width over here. And now let me select my items with the class item. Okay, so I hope the class is item only, yeah. And over here let me give it a background color of red. Okay, and after that border of 2 pixel solid and blue. Okay, so I'll save this and let me change the height also. Okay, and 100 pixel, and same way 100 pixel width, and you can see I got my container over here with 8 items over here. Okay, so you can see that. And now let's say if we want this 8 items over here to come row and column wise, so over here what can I do is I can change the display of the container to display grid. And after that, let's say if I want 2 columns over here, then what I can do is grid template columns, and I can define the width of the column. And let's say if I want the column 2 times, means 2 columns, then same thing I have to do 2 times over here. I have to define the width 2 times. Okay, so 100 pixel 100 pixel, and same way I can define the grid row. Okay, so grid template rows, let's say if I want it 4 times, then 100 pixel 100 pixel 100 pixel and 100 pixels. I mean let's say if we want 4 rows, then we can write it like this. So friends, now I'll save this, and you can see I got 2 columns and 4 rows over here. Now friends, let's say if I want some gap between my columns and rows, then what I can do is I have to go here, grid column gap over here. I have to write grid gap column and over here I have to define that how much gap I want. So let's say 30 pixel. Oh, sorry, I have to not write it in the items. I have to write it over here. Okay. So there's some gap mistake over here, I think so. Let me change this to let me put it at last over here. So I think so now it is perfect. Okay, so now you can see I got a gap between my two columns over here. So same way, if I want a gap between my rows, then I can type grid row gap over here, and let's say 40 pixel. So over here I'll get a 40 pixel of gap between my rows. You can see. So here let the gap be 20 pixels, so the items will be clearly visible over here. You can see. So friends, now let's say if we want to merge these two items over here, as we do in Excel. In Excel we can merge two cells. So can we merge two items over here inside our grid? So the answer is yes, we can do that. So for that, first we need to provide a unique ID to the item which we want to merge. So let's say ID of item 1, and I'll save this. And over here we have to remove the height and width from the items, and after that let me select the item 1 with my ID item 1. Okay, so over here grid, as I want to merge two columns, so what I can do is grid column start. Okay, grid column start from 1, and where should it end will be grid column end. Okay, so here I have to write 3. So now I'll tell you how it works. So friends, over here you can see our two items are merged. So now let me tell you how it works. So over here you can see the starting of the item over here, the border, and the item will end over here. The first item will end over here. So this is our first line and this is our second line. And the third line, the thing which we are providing over here, the writing over here 1, 3 are the lines. We are defining the lines over here. Okay, so this border over here, the blue color border which you can see over here, is the first line. After that, the ending of the first item will be the second line, and starting of the second item will be the third line. So you can see our first items, our first two items are merged over here. Okay, so now friends, I hope you understood about the display grid. So now in this video we learned about all the 5 values of a display property. So friends, in this video we learned about display property and its 5 values, that are block, inline, inline block, flex and grid. Now in next video I'll meet you with some new CSS topics. So till then, be connected. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.